everyone, it's Margaret, back to share another journal project that I just finished. In fact, my family just welcomed me home. They thought that I had left town for a few days because I've been in my craft room for the last few days working away at this particular project. Again, it's very intense detail on this particular one, and I had lots of fun doing it. But that's the way I am. If I'm on a roll and I feel like working on something, I will actually spend hours and hours at a time until I'm ready to let it go. So anyway, I did manage to get it done, and I'm filming this taking advantage of the daylight sun that we still have. I find the videos always come out better with that daylight. So anyway, what I did was I made again, another whimsical type of journal, and it's a Victorian handbag. Still has glue strings on it. I don't know if you can see that, but I will zoom it so you can have a better look. And as you can see, it's in the shape of a Victorian handbag. Now, what I did for this project, again, I went online and got an idea what the shape should be like, and I made my own pattern, which looks something like this. Again, you can see that I made an allowance in the center for the stitching and give the journal some space when you start to fill it with goodies. And this particular one is jam-packed with goodies, so we'll get started on it. The first page, the cover page, is filled with some roses, a rose ribbon trim that came off of a lady's blouse. And then I made a soft pink rose for the center to give it a little bit of color. I've actually mimicked the metal piece that for the opening of the purse that you would normally see, and then the clasp I used a vintage earring. Actually, there were a set of two, so it's an earring slash brooch that I used for the clasp. I used a little bit of ruffle lace here in the corner and some ribbon trim at the bottom here with some vintage pearls that I broke off of an earring. Some trim at the bottom here that I've taken off of a scarf, and added some flat back pearls to the top. And that's the cover page. So the first page of the journal, I'm going to flip this back, that way you can see better each individual page. And I hope you can see that. Okay, we have a beautiful Victorian lady in the center, and what I've done, again, I've embroidered it with silver thread to give it a little bit of embellishment, but I also used a very subtle glaze paint, glitter paint on it, which gives it a little bit of sparkle and interest. I framed the picture in some pearls and added these rosettes once again from a garment. This flower underneath here is from a vintage doily. I love these flowers. They're absolutely gorgeous. So I included that behind the rosette. This is a little dangle trim that I had, and I added some sparkle rhinestones on it. It's like the Aurora Borealis type, and it really adds a lot of glitter to it. I love that. And here's a little bit of lace in the corner, a little bit of wedding dress applique with the pearls. I used trim on the top with some fringe trim, again from a scarf, for the top. And that's that page. The next page, again, we have our pretty Victorian lady in the center. And what I did here is I had seen this on a garment, and I wanted to try it, and it came out pretty good. You just ruffle the ribbon and tack it down in between every so once in a while, and then I put a pearl in between, so it gives it a real nice three-dimensional look. And I really like the way that came out. It's really different. Then I had some little tassel trim in my scrap box that I used at the bottom. This is another vintage trim that I used for the corner. Again, using the rhinestone trim to accent this particular piece. Some vintage doily behind the picture. Wedding dress applique, and this is a satin flower with the big huge pearl on it that I stained, so it looks old and a little tattered. Again, the wedding dress applique here, and trim all around. Now again, in this particular journal, I could not use a lot of heavy trims all around because I wanted to keep the integrity of the shape of the purse. So a lot of the trim was actually just layered on each page, and any dangles, I just concentrated it more on the bottom of the page rather than the side of the page. Again, I used some embroidery thread here for the lady and little glazed glitter for her dress. It gives it a nice sparkle. Next page. On this particular one, I again with the Victorian lady in the center, embellished with the silver thread. But on this one, I actually did these little, I guess they look like calla lilies in the satin material, and I put a center teardrop pearl in each flower. I trimmed off the picture with some trim, some pearls. Again, that flower from that doily that I love, and this was an earring with the little dangle pearls on it, and I put that in the center. A little handmade fabric rose, and wedding dress applique that's been dyed in the soft pink. So I hope you can see that. The next page, I call this the stare at page. It's just a bunch of yummy goodies that I've layered on this particular page. I had a sash of ruffles, the type you would see on a little girl's undies. It was so cute, and I just gave it a little bit of coffee stain so that it wasn't bright white on the bottom here, and I added the wedding dress applique in the pearl and sequins, a couple of layers of ruffles which came from a blouse, and then the trim on top, wedding dress applique on that again, a satin rosette on top of a flower base, and a doily flower base again underneath it. Some curly dangles from a doily, and a little shabby chic flower in that nice flesh color chiffon with a little rhinestone accent in the center. The next page, again, our little Victorian lady, embellished. And this one, I actually took the bottom of a lady's top. It was beautiful, all had the sequins and glitter on it. But in between each piece on the bottom was this little insert of, it looks like probably like an organza or chiffon. And I created a little skirt for the photo and put it at the bottom here. And then I added the doily flower, the lace all around it, some vintage trim here, added some little rosettes on the corner, and a little dangle trim that was taken off of another doily here. So that's that page. Oh, and the little trim here in the corner with the pearl brooch there. That's that page. The final page, again, the pocket page, which I always do. I use the same scarf trim at the bottom here, the fringe trim, and use some trim to finish the edges off. This is from this was not a vintage doily, it was just a modern doily that I snipped out and used for the pocket, and embellished that with some accent trims and pearls on the corners. And every lady needs her lipstick and compact when she goes out. So what I did was I took an old lipstick of mine and cleaned it all up, and I altered it especially for this project. And as you can see, it's covered in the same fleshy colored fabric, and then I added some trim and some little flowers and a little bling on the top and the bottom of the lipstick. And then I had a very cheap compact that I had bought at the dollar store, and I had it in my purse, and it was just screaming red satin and pretty ugly, but it served its purpose. It did have the mirror inside, but I took it apart and altered it, and I put the pearls all around and the wedding dress applique in the center. And then I did the back as well with some lace and applique. And as you can see, it's a little lady's compact that goes in the pocket of the purse. So it adds a little bit of fun to that. So that's in there. The back, oops, the back is just, I love this lace base actually. You know, I use some of the nicest laces, but then they all get covered up inside the journal. So the back page really is, I kind of left it so that you can get some kind of idea what the lace looks like. But anyway, again, the fringe trim at the bottom. And then here I just cut out some appliques and used this big pearl wedding dress applique for the center, just to give it a little bit of interest on the back. Now, what I did with the chain, I actually fed it through the middle of the journal, as you can see, and then that created a nice strong hold for it. And then I put these little tabs on either side just to hold it in place so that it doesn't slide back and forth and create an off balance to the handle. So that's what I did there. And then I added a little tag. It's not a leather bag, but I thought it would be cute to add a little detail here. A little tag that drapes over the side of the journal. So that's my Victorian handbag journal. It took forever to make, but I'm really happy with it. I really had a great time making it. So I hope you like it. And give you a last look. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon with another project. Take care. Bye-bye.